Sue Moroney.
Thank you, Mr Speaker, and I rise to support the Support for Children in Hardship bill because something is better than nothing, Mr Speaker. But still, I think that within this context, we can see from this government once again just how little value this national government puts on parenting. Because this bill, more than any other bill, I think really demonstrates that. Work, in the government's view, is not the very important and valuable work of raising children. That is not seen nearly as being as valuable as maybe a 0 hours contract for 20 hours a week. Because let's be honest, Mr Speaker, for anyone who really knows, who's in touch with what's going on out in the community, that these provisions, these types of provisions where people who are in receipt of a benefit are forced out to work, and this bill forces them out to go and seek part-time jobs from the time their child is 3. That is driving a sort of employment market that actually most New Zealanders are embarrassed and ashamed about. It is forcing the type of labour market that sees the growth of 0 hours contracts, that sees the growth of low wage, our low wage economy. I come from Hamilton, Mr Speaker, and the sort of growth that we see in jobs in Hamilton is that a new Wendy's has gone up or a new Carl's Jr. at the same time as scientists are being made redundant from Ruakura. So we're getting rid of our high-value jobs and we're getting these minimum wage, 0 hour contracts type jobs, and these are exactly the sorts of jobs that the government is now forcing parents into, when many of these parents have made a decision that they would rather spend the time, or they need to spend their time, with their young children. Mr Speaker, this bill doesn't make any differentiation for parents who are in receipt of a benefit who are raising children with disabilities or children with special needs. They too, at the age of 3, need to go out and pound the streets looking for the 0 hours contract work, up to, now 20 hours. I'm not sure why the government thinks that suddenly, when they required 15 hours of part-time work before, that suddenly now that can just leap to 20 hours work without them doing anything to grow jobs in our economy, because that's the other area in which this budget fails miserably. So, Mr Speaker, it is of some merit that the government has increased benefits by $25 a week for families with children. But, here's the but. It is a bit of a swings and roundabouts thing, because they're requiring these same parents to go out to seek these part-time jobs when their child turns 3. They are going to have to pay more than $25 a week in childcare fees to enable them to do that, Mr Speaker. And so there's the $25 gone straight away, plus some, and some. So I think while it's always good to see families with children get some more support from the budget, Mr Speaker, in this instance, I think that we will find that this money disappears very quickly, evaporates with the other mean approaches that this government is taking to cutting spending in various areas. Mr Speaker, I'm speaking on this bill because I'm our spokesperson for Women's Affairs, and this, of course, this will have quite a severe impact on women and their role in parenting. And I just want to make sure that the House notes that while the $25 a week is good in this bill, and we certainly support that, we have some real concerns about some of the other measures, that at the same time, the Ministry of Women's Affairs, the Ministry for Women, has taken a budget cut in this budget. It's a tiny little budget to start off with, and there it is, women again not being taken seriously by this government and having their hopes and dreams and aspirations dashed by a miserable approach from this government. Mr Speaker, Labor supports this bill, but we think it doesn't go nearly far enough.
John O'Naylor.
Mr Speaker, well, for the